Okay, so let's go ahead and remove that guy. And we'll do the same thing here. And we'll return world. And let's do a little more here. So we want to say if world is equal to null, we'll do the underscore world. We want to do two things. We want to say the world is newed up, and we also want to call seed world. And then we're going to return world. Okay, and no setter. And we will take that little tip to invert nesting. Okay. And we'll get rid of this guy. Alright, so then how do we look compared to this? So we've got our static constructor. We'll just follow this exactly, even though we don't really care. Okay. Make everything look like the example. Okay. So, we have implemented a singleton, and it is super anticlimactic. Ashkatite says, hello, long time no see. Hello and long time no see to you too as well, Ashkatite. We are hopping right into some TCP server and client action. Alright, so following this very simple example, we now have our singleton. So we're going to close this out. Okay, and honestly that's it, right? So we have our backing field here for our instance. We've got our static constructor, and what all this static stuff allows us to do is to ensure that at every level of creation, that the compiler in .NET's double checking to make sure that it's only creating one instance for the app domain. So we're really borrowing some functionality from the .NET runtime and its conventions. Okay, so what does that get us, really? Well, so far, not much, as far as our game being out there in the world of the TCP server, but it does mean once we go to implement this, we can rest assured that all clients will be talking to one and only one hive mind. Okay, Let's go ahead and save this. And we'll be jumping around between two projects. So let's go back over to Easy TCP. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of refactoring here. So we originally had, for the case of the demo, a client and a server that contained all of its own stuff. We're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to shove everything into common. So let's add into our model server. And we'll add into our model a new folder for client. And we're going to grab these two folders and just drag them down. And then for server, we're going to come down here to this guy. And drag these guys up. Okay. And then we're just going to burn away these folders. Alright. And our reason for doing that was the client and server are console applications. And we want to bring in our Easy TCP into our MUD-Z game. And these consoles are going to get in the way. So we're just going to bring in the one DLL common and then new up client and server as we see fit. So let's go into this guy and let's just go ahead and change our namespaces to reflect our new project. Because we moved it, but it still has all the same namespaces from the project where it used to be. This will be really fast. We're in the big leagues now, we're moving quickly. Alright, how are we looking? That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good and good. And let's move this guy around. Alright. This all feels good. Close you. Alright. And nothing's broken because we are wizards. It's all about this. Alright, so now we still have our, in this case, our server, but it's going to be calling asynchronous listener from our common project. So now if we wanted to share this ability to be a server or be a client with any other application, we just need to share this one project. How's that look? Alright, let's clear up some errors. Whoa. Okay. Let's go ahead and clean this guy. Oh, couldn't copy because I still have this little window open. That was the issue. Tried to build it and it was like, I can't overwrite what's in the bin because you have it open. Okay, so same test as before. Everything still works even after I move things around. I create some new clients. They can connect. It's receiving. This is great. Okay. What's next? Let's go over to our TCP, into our bin. And we really just want this guy, just this one file. And there's better ways to share resources. I'm a big fan of local NuGet packages, but we don't want to introduce too many moving parts. Alright, so now we're back over here in the hive mind. We've got this guy. We want to put it someplace where we can get to it easily. So we're going to open up our core. Add a new folder called Assemblies. Throw that guy in it. Where'd you go, that guy? This guy. Yeah. Alright, so there we have it. Okay. Getting closer. Okay. Now we want to start up a new project. It's going to be another console application. This one's going to be called MudZ Server. Looking pretty familiar already. And we're going to go ahead and add a reference to our solution, to the core. That's where our hive mind is, our Singleton. And then we also want to add a reference, and we want to browse for it. Ooh. Why don't you, hang on, grab that location. Alright, and we want to add a reference, and we want to browse for it, and we're going to be looking in our assemblies, and easytcp.common. We're going to add that. Then we come back over to our example application, and this was our server. We can just cancel. We just copy this guy right over into our MudZ server. So we've made it that easy to add TCP functionality to any application we want. So now for our next trick, we did modify the TCP server to pass around this idea of a request, and we also embedded a strategy pattern. So essentially a request comes in of a certain type, and then the default strategy unpacks it, knows it's a string, and does something with it. So for us, we want that thing to be a game object. So if we come back over to the TCP project and take a look at what that is, we have this iProcess strategy, and all it does is take in a response, it's taking a request and give back a response. So let's come back over to our server. This is our MudZ server. We're going to add a new folder, domain, a new one called EasyTCP. Add a new item. We're going to call this HiveMind Process Strategy. It's kind of a wonky name, but I think it's going to work for us. Make this guy public. Have it inherent from iProcess Strategy. These are all things that should be, if you went through the first 6 weeks, nothing super complicated here. We definitely built up to it, but trying to move with that kind of, the speed that says, hey, we've done all these things before. Okay, so now what do I want my HiveMind strategy to do? I'm in my MudZ server. I got access to my core, got access to my HiveMind. What do we assume here? Well, first we assume that var game request is going to be packed somewhere in this request that came in.